Hey everybody, and happy Independence Day! Wait, it's the 5th of July. Unless you're watching this on any other day than the 4th of July, but honestly, why would you? In which case... But you know what, enough about that. What do you think of when you think of the 4th of July? Do you think of freedom? You're dead wrong. It's about explosions! Hooray! Explosions! They're an integral part of every game, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Seriously, name me a single game that does not benefit from the grand majesty of a mighty Kabloomy. Here, let's take this first scenario. Last time you were playing a Mario game and you jumped on a Koopa Koopa yacht, my friend? Did you feel satisfied? Was it good for you? Yeah, maybe a little bit, you know. Not bad, could have been better. You know what would have made that a whole lot more satisfying? Whether it's a grand spectacle in a first-person shooter or, this, I'm always left with a better impression of the game, because even a bad game becomes significantly less terrible just by throwing in an explosion or two. I mean, really, what better way is there to hide something awful than to cover it up with tons of explosions? The answer? So without further ado, these are the top 10 explosions in video games. Starting out the list is a relatively new game announced at this past year's E3, Splatoon. The game that looks like the result of Nintendo traveling back in time to my childhood, abducting the CEO of Nickelodeon, bringing him back to 2014 and demanding he make a new IP for them. To which he responded with a whisper, "Squid Girls, do you have it?" There's something about the concept of being a Squid Girl shooting the floor, the walls, the nothing, and other Squid Girls with bright neon colored ink and swimming through my own ink as a legitimate squid that just sounds so... appealing. You know, I'm not too sure about that sentence there. But the most appealing thing I found in the many Splatoon demos shown off at E3 was definitely the Inklings exploding when they get shot by enemy ink. First of all, whoa. Second of all, what? This is a Nintendo game. And yes, I know they're not really dying a horrible explodey death, but still, you can't deny that looks a wee bit graphic or suggestive. It looks like they're exploding. I mean, oh my god. Just look at that. The sniper girl just blew that girl's head off. That's brutal. Remember back in the 90s when arcades were still a thing and this game ate your quarters alive? Okay, well, maybe not this game considering it released in 2000, but the Metal Slug series in general. Out of all of them though, number 3 is definitely my favorite. It's just so wonderfully wacky and out of this world, somewhat literally. It's got monkeys, it's got zombies, it's got piranha plants? But most importantly, it's got explosions. Here explosion, there explosion, all over the world explosion. Explosions all over the world. And while this entire game may very well constitute as one giant never-ending explosion, if I had to pick one explosion in particular, I'd have to give it to the Mission 4 boss, because I despise him and it felt so good to see him blown to smithereens. Whoa, hey now, what do you mean this game doesn't belong here? Clearly says right on the cover, explosion. That's reason enough to include it on this list, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie here. I picked this game up 80% off at a Toys R Us, and I never looked back. And honestly, it's not terrible. It's just not very good either. But when I first heard that they were going to make a Cartoon Network Smash Brothers, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't kind of ridiculously excited. But then I read some reviews on it and realized that such a dream was only a fantasy. Meaning again, it's not very good. But there are a lot of explosions, yeah? And where else are you gonna be able to play as Aku and get in a fist fight with Captain Planet? That alone makes this purchase totally worth it. You go get him, Aku. You get him. Don't let that blue-faced hippie make you save the dolphins of the ecosystem or whatever. Global warming don't mean nothing to the unspeakable evil that is Aku. Captain Knuckles is cool too, though.
Don't cry for me. 숨겨진 사랑을 try to see.
Haha, yes! I'm in first. I'm the best. Wait, no. Oh my god.
Maybe we lose.
Now, while the blue shell could technically count as an explosion, considering that's kind of what it makes when it crashes down on you, it's actually not my choice for the number 7 spot. No, that honor goes to the adorable explosive himself, bob-omb. Now, it may be a bit tricky to use here, but when it lands, it actually starts walking around and can create a devastating explosion for any drivers unfortunate enough to cross its path, including you. And that's usually how my bob-omb throwing ventures go. But look at this cow, he just doesn't care. He's so cool. I wish I was that cow. For anyone who's played a game from this bloody franchise, I'm sure you know just what I'm talking about when I say that my first head pop was as shocking as it was memorable. There's just something disturbingly magical about the way the head just explodes, be it someone else's or your own. And you can rest assured that if it does happen to you, you'll be taken aback every time. It's kind of like the first time you bite into a Gushers, only instead of the sweet taste of high fructose corn syrup, you get this sweet taste of holy crap, what just happened, this game is awesome, 10 steroid injections out of 10, game of the year. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I hate this move with a fiery passion. Not just explosion, but self-destruct too. Running into a graveler with sturdy and having him blow up on you on the first turn, it's not a fun experience. It's not. And I also have bad memories of a good friend of mine using this move as a signature of his. Whenever we'd play double battles back in the 4th generation of Pokemon, he'd use a deadly combination of Gengar and Azelf. In case you couldn't tell already, that Azelf was a bit of a suicide lead, and thanks to his Gengar's ghost typing, he'd be completely invulnerable to it, which meant I'd have to sit there and watch my poor non-ghost type Pokes just take that explosion as I died a little inside. But duty calls, and I have to admit, on a list of explosions, the Pokemon move explosion is about as essential and linear as it gets. So, albeit perhaps against my better judgment, explosion takes the number 5 spot. I hate you so much. Nightfire is a James Bond game, and James Bond games have lots of explosions. Like GoldenEye before it, I used to play this game with my friends all the time, and one of our favorite things to do among other things
Do I know you?
was blow each other up. And luckily for us, Nightfire provided plenty of ways to do just that. Grenade launchers, rocket launchers, even mini tanks and helicopters were methods of explosive destruction at our disposal. The ingredients responsible for making the number 4 explosion on this list, however, is as follows. 1. 4 controllers, of which I only have 3, and no friends to help me. Guess I'm lonely. 2. A small stage like Phoenix Base. 3. Boredom. You need lots of that. And 4. As many tripwires and remote mines you can manage to collect. Stack all the explosives together in a neat little pile, and once you're ready to go, sit back and watch them go. Kaboom! The intensity of all the explosions tears up the frame rate, and if you're lucky, should even crash your system. But I couldn't do it. So congratulations. Number 4 is a Dudsplosion. You know what? I really enjoyed the original Halo. For the time, it felt wildly unique and genuinely exciting. Exploring the mysterious artificial planet that was Halo as the Master Chief was seldom ever boring, and the story kept me engaged throughout. And what a way to cap off an incredible game with a warthog race out of a self-destructing spaceship. Or station. Is it space station? Is there a difference? But what really made this moment special wasn't just the incredible spectacle of making it out last minute like the baddest dude to ever wear green, but the ending you got if you complete the game on the highest difficulty. I'm sure this is pretty well known by now, but when I was a kid and managed to team up with a friend and conquer the beast that was legendary mode, we were both pleasantly surprised by what we saw. Sergeant Major Johnson going toe-to-toe with a Covenant elite, noticing the Pillar of Autumn about to blow, and deciding that, screw it, love was all you need. At least when it comes to being on the precipice of your inevitable doom anyway. What results is one of the funniest secret endings I've ever seen in a video game. And that's what really made this video game explosion even more memorable. Love between a man and whatever this thing is.
Come over here, you big lug.
Really, I'm not going to kiss you in front of everyone.
Come on, boy. You can become a man today.
By the rings, this is too much.
We couldn't end this list without at least one true firework explosion, and who better to provide the gunpowder than the cutest pink blob to ever explode of his own free will? Kirby! Kirby's bomb ability has always been one of my favorites, not necessarily because it's fun to throw bombs, even though it totally is, but because the Poppy Bros are kind of amazing, and their design is absolutely hilarious. For someone who dedicates their entire existence to chucking bombs at other adorable things, the Poppy Bros are just so happy. Even when they die, their crazy smile just never does. It's adorable, but also kind of terrifying. However, with the release of Kirby 64, they introduced the concept of combining powers to create one super ability, which meant you could now combine Kirby's bomb ability with any other ability. Want to toss a stick of dynamite at an enemy and have it blow up in your face? You can do it. Ever wanted to chuck exploding shurikens at the faces of cute creatures? You're a monster, why would you do that?
I'm back.
Ever wanted to shoot rockets out of your mouth? Of course you have. Who wouldn't? It doesn't sound painful at all. Ever wanted to be a light bulb and die because of how useless you are? You can even be this thing and move super slow. But more importantly, you can be a suicidal snowman. Merry Christmas. Also, he wears a fez. That's just adorable. But the power in question for this video game explosion comes from combining Bomb Kirby with Burning Kirby, which results in, you guessed it, Fireworks Kirby. Not only is this ability super useful, it's also super patriotic. And on a list all about patriotism, Kirby is more than deserving of being on this list. Quick, think back to 1997, 3 days before the 4th of July. What comes to mind? Wrong. Stop Fox. Now this game was made with one thing in mind: explosions. Nearly every single explosion in this game is just freaking awesome. A common enemy exploding is freaking awesome. A smart bomb exploding is freaking awesome. You exploding is freaking awesome. No! But nothing is more awesome than the boss battle death sequences. It's just a thing of, I can't even describe, you just had to be there. Being a kid back in the 90s and holding that controller when you defeat a boss for the first time and feeling it just freak out like... That, my friends, is a moment that will stay with you forever. And while all of the boss death sequences are great, with particular attention to the first boss, considering it left you feeling so impressed by the scale of what was to come, I have to give the #1 spot to this little beauty. Look at this. Will you just look at this? Just when you think that's it, you know, you saw an explosion, it's good, it's fine. But no, everything starts exploding. Even after the sequence ends and you pan back to Fox and the Landmaster, there's still one more giant explosion. It's like Miyamoto was just like, yeah, no, look, yeah, this is great. The game, love it. 3D is great. Talking animals, my favorite. Lots of action, love it, but I gotta have more explosions. But sir, we've already used like 10 explosions. I mean, we can't. I don't care. Do you know who I am? Do you? Do you? And the result is this. Glorious, glorious explosions. It doesn't get any more freedom than that. Well, that was a blast. But seriously guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. It really does help out quite a lot. And if you like what you saw here, definitely subscribe to my channel to be notified whenever I get a new video out. There's plenty more where this came from, I assure you. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter and like me on Facebook for all my social media shenanigans. Until next time, goodbye.
Enjoying the view?
Quite.